Welcome to Mount Bachelor Ski Resort in Bend, Oregon. When I came here for biking last summer, I knew I'd be back for skiing after seeing all the great terrain the mountain has to offer. This video will be similar to my Deer Valley and Park City videos. I'll rate my personal experience in 10 categories from 0 to 10. A 5 out of 10 is completely average for a ski resort, and anything higher means Bachelor is excelling in that category. If a score is below a 5, improvement is needed. I'll use this universal rating system that doesn't only focus on the ski runs, but rates my overall experience on and off the mountain. If you visited Mount Bachelor, you probably had a different experience than I did, so keep that in mind when watching this video. The first category is off-mountain activities. Any activity within close proximity to the mountain counts, but honestly, it's a stretch saying Bachelor has any. Bend is between a 30 and 60 minute drive depending on traffic and road conditions. Bachelor doesn't have any activities at the base of the mountain except for Nordic skiing and doesn't have a village like Park City or Whistler. That being said, Bend has a pretty good list of activities. The city offers a wide variety of local craft breweries and an abundance of good food trucks. There are a ton of boutique shops and cool art galleries in downtown Bend in the Old Mill District. There's no sales tax here, so it's a great place to shop. For those who are still looking for physical activity after skiing, the city has 2 ice skating rinks and you can river surf in the Deschutes River. You can rent a wetsuit and board at River Surf Company for $85 if you decide to give surfing a try. I'm giving Bachelor a 6 for having a solid list of activities. The only downside is accessing the activities, which comes at a cost of driving a ways from the mountain. Next is the pricing, which is pretty much average. In traditional skiing fashion, everything is more expensive on the mountain. Lift tickets are $109 Monday through Thursday, $129 on Friday, $149 on weekends, and $159 on holidays. This is less than Deer Valley and Whistler, but more expensive than Stevens Pass or Crystal, 2 Washington State resorts. Food, gear, and souvenirs are expensive at Bachelor, but lower than at most ski resorts. The score for this category is 6 out of 10. It's slightly less expensive than most large ski resorts, but not by much. Mount Bachelor's food is very good and earns an 8 out of 10 for this next category. Due to the COVID restrictions, many restaurants have been forced to shut down or create limited menus. Bachelor has adapted to COVID well, and there were plenty of options to choose from. At the Sunrise Lodge, there's a 3-page menu including burgers, a beef rice bowl, and chili. Indoor dining is at 25% capacity, but we didn't have any trouble getting a table. At the West Village Lodge near Pine Martin's base, the Subi Shack also has good options, though they run out of food very fast. I had their mac and cheese, and it was a fast and tasty lunch option. They also have food trucks where you can get meals, drinks, and desserts at a somewhat decent price. The mountain is not where food shines though. In Bend, 22 brew houses offer good food and drinks in a casual environment. Immersion is a great one in the Mill Quarter. They have awesome burgers. My dad had a Cali burger with avocado, bacon, chipotle mayo, and poblano peppers, which he devoured. The food trucks are my favorite in Bend. Thailandia's beef fried rice is delicious, just like I said in last summer's bike park review. You can also get it with other meats or tofu. The Tin Pig has great chicken tenders and fries as well. The seasoning on the fries is so good, I had them 2 days in a row. The restaurants and food trucks in downtown Bend in the Mill District are very good, but are not directly on the mountain close to skiing. The ski slopes are the next category and earns a 9 out of 10 for their amazing quality and variety. Let me start by saying Bachelor has something for everyone. You can do fast groomers on Sunrise, powder runs on Northwest, steeper terrain, groomed or not. But the most impressive part is by far the tree skiing. The trees here at Bachelor are world class. I've been to some really cool ski resorts like Deer Valley, Whistler, Sun Peaks, Sugarbush, and Stowe, but none can compare to the tree skiing at Bachelor. The entire Cloud Chaser area is a modern take on tree skiing. While terrain isn't too steep, deep powder turns can be found if you pick a good line. No two runs through the trees will be the same, as it's hard to remember your route through the winding trees. If you want tighter, more advanced trees, the lower runs on Outback and Northwest will serve you well. Any tree skiing you can think of, Bachelor has. That's not even where it ends though. The quality of all these runs is crazy. The snow this mountain gets is very impressive, with most of it being slightly wet, but deep. My score for the quality and variety of runs is going to have to be a 9 out of 10. I'm taking 1 point away for 2 reasons. The summit of this mountain is rarely open since wind speeds can be in excess of 100 miles per hour and the lift freezes quickly, so there weren't any double black runs open during my trip. The mountain is also known for having very high winds that close lifts. While we didn't have a huge problem with this, it was definitely noticeable for sure. Still, the quality of runs and variety is in an elite class, which is why Bachelor receives such a high score for quality and variety of slopes. Mount Bachelor's lifts are next, and the score is a 6 out of 10 here. Pretty much all the lifts here are high speed, so the lift system is designed to get you up to the top very quickly. This category isn't just the lifts themselves though, it's the entire system, meaning how everything is maintained and organized. Due to high winds at Bachelor, most lifts weren't running at full speed, but this makes sense because safety is and should be the first priority. For the most part, the lifts are old. Outback specifically could use replacement as it was running slower than a normal detachable even without wind. For overall layout, I think it's pretty good, aside from the fact that you can't get all the way across the mountain without stopping at Pine Martin Base. Bachelor has a slightly above average lift system due to their well-maintained high-speed lifts. Before I talk about the scenery, let's just appreciate it for a minute. While scenery may not be important to some people, it's a differentiator at Bachelor. Whether you're seeing parabolic hills at Park City or rugged mountains and trees here, scenery at a mountain can be calming. Bachelor's scenery earns a 9 for having a bit of everything. In all directions, you can see snow-covered mountains with sharp peaks popping out of fairly flat terrain scattered with trees. From northwest, you can see Sparks Lake, and it's a beautiful view when frozen over in the winter. The mountain peaks, snow-covered trees, and lake views make for beautiful scenery, giving Bachelor a high score. Let's talk about the ease of access. How easy and stress-free is getting here? I'll give Bachelor a 5 in this category, which is a perfectly average score. Bend Municipal Airport is a small airport 6 miles northeast of Bend. However, most flights fly into Portland, which is almost 3 hours away. From Washington, California, or Idaho, your best bet is to drive. There aren't any hotels on the mountain, so no ski-in, ski-out accommodations. I came here from Seattle, and the 6-hour drive was pretty easy except for one section by Mount Hood where the snowfall required us to drive slowly. Everything else was smooth sailing. The resort gets a 5 because it's not close to a major airport and hotels or house rentals are at least a 20-minute drive. Logistics is next up. Some things are great and some not, so let's talk about it. This category is about general mountain details that add or detract from your experience. The mountain layout plays a huge role here. It's actually great. Though you can't get to Northwest from Cloud Chaser without stopping at West Village, you can flow through in the opposite direction. When the summit is open, you get 360-degree skiing, and Bachelor is one of the few mountains to have this. Some traversing is necessary, but overall you can easily access all parts of the mountain. For parking, you have to book a reservation in advance, and that's how they're limiting people at the resort. The parking system is really good. It's free, although you can pay for enhanced parking, but we didn't feel the need. Parking is available at the West Village, Skyliner, and Sunrise bases. All of this helps spread out the crowds. Speaking of crowds, there are a lot of them at Bachelor. We went Wednesday through Saturday, and the line lengths changed daily. Wednesday was a bluebird day after 11 inches of new snowfall, so it by far had the most people. In some cases, the lines were over 30 minutes, and Northwest was close to an hour wait. The rest of the days, the lines were more manageable, with wait times anywhere from 2 to 20 minutes. I'll give them a 6 out of 10 for having an above average layout and parking, but very long lift lines at times. Finally, I was impressed with the internet connection. Typically, ski resorts don't have great connectivity, but I was able to text my parents and friends throughout the day with no problems. Next is staff, and I want to take a moment to describe my experience with the Mount Bachelor staff. Before arriving at the resort, I heard the staff were some of the best in the world. Based on my experience, I agree, even though I had one negative interaction. On Wednesday, I was skiing the Cloud Chaser area with a friend, but had to meet my parents at West Village. I reached the base of the Sunrise Express at 3:54, 6 minutes before 4 p.m. closing, but the lift operator didn't let me on. He said the people already in line would take them to 4 p.m. A few other skiers asked the operator to let me on, but he refused. I was now stranded at Sunrise for the better part of an hour while my parents waited in traffic to get out of the West Village parking lot so they could pick me up. During this time, employees kept on getting on the lift for their after-work laps, so there was no legitimate reason I couldn't load the lift. After waiting 20 minutes, another lift op came up to me. He was very nice and apologized for what happened. He even gave me a tour of the lift control room. A huge shout out to Ryan for being an exceptional staff member. My mom also had an outstanding experience with Julie, a staff member at the Sunrise Lodge. Julie noticed my mom blowing on her hands and shivering and brought her a cup of hot water to hold and hand warmers to keep her warm while skiing. This was certainly going above and beyond for a customer. I'll give this mountain a 7 out of 10 in the category. The staff here are amazing, aside from my one experience with a lift operator at Sunrise. Since this review is my personal experience and I wasn't let on the lift, this feels like a fair score. Other than that, an easy 10 all the way. Bachelor's Grooming is next, and this is a very difficult category for me to rate. While we were there, the mountain got 40 inches of fresh snow. That's a lot. It snowed overnight and during the day, so even though trails were groomed overnight, all that we saw was powder, powder, and more powder. On Thursday morning, we skied a few groom trails like Jetstream, Cirrus, and Hemlock, but within a couple of hours, we had nice few inches of freshies, so the grooming went out the window. Even though it snowed all day Thursday, I was impressed the groomers continued to groom the Green Trail Marshmallow throughout the day, so new skiers had a safe place to learn. I've never seen grooming take place during the day. For this reason, plus the quality of the groomers we skied, I'll rate the resort a 5 out of 10. The final category is rating how well Bachelor is handling COVID. While I won't add the score to the overall ranking since COVID is hopefully temporary, I think it's important to discuss. I have to give them a score of a 7 out of 10 here. The majority of skiers and snowboarders wore masks correctly. Staff walked up and down lift lines making sure they were worn to keep customers safe. They have limited chair capacity and you can only ride with the people you came with. The exception is singles. Instead of having singles ride with larger groups, they're pairing 2 singles on the outside ends of the lift, which is great. However, there's no limit for ticket sales, and if it's a powder day or sunny day, lines are very long. Even with masks being worn, this is not safe. They're adhering to the 25% indoor dining capacity law, which is another safety mechanism. All in all, I felt Bachelor managed COVID better than some other resorts I've skied this season. When we add up all the scores total, the mountain's final score is a 67 out of 100. This means Mount Bachelor is above average in general, and honestly, it's one of my favorite mountains. While it doesn't have a village at the base with food, shops, and hotels, the runs are in an elite class shared only by a few resorts. This is most important to me, and we got a great experience here. I would highly recommend this mountain if you're an advanced skier or powder seeker, but maybe find another large resort if you'd like easier terrain with tons of activities close to the mountain. That's going to conclude this video, and I hope you guys can have a great experience just like I did. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.